you were but a child and became overwhelmed with emotions, like all children at a certain age tend to do. Your mother urged you to count the leaves of the great white oak behind your house. It was unbecoming, she said, for a girl to throw tantrums over the teasing of village boys. As useless as crying over honey-glazed bread that's gotten burned. Your mother had always wished for a docile daughter, one who tended her wounds in gentle grace. But she'd gotten one that couldn't hide her feelings. So you took to the practice in an effort to become more agreeable. Whenever you felt the sting of tears behind the eyes, or the suffocating tension of anger, you went out behind your home and rested your head against the thick trunk, gazing, counting, aching with the urge to scream. 1 leaf, 2 leaves, 3, 4, until they all start to blend together, curling veins and greenery, blurring, till you slowly noticed that you could breathe once more. And all those overwhelming impulses that fought for space inside your chest stilled. Your mother had been right. Not so much about the counting, as much as the solace brought by nature itself. From that day on, whenever you felt frustrated or upset, you needed only to glance at the great white oak, and you'd be flooded by a sense of peace. It's a pity there was no such tree at Cessarion's castle.
What's wrong, little Sparrow? Don't have anything to say?
The folly of desire. When faced with the man who'd left such a striking impression, who'd come to embody all your earthly needs, you were rendered speechless and could do nothing but gape at the figure, standing but a breath away. For the world had suddenly narrowed to the width of a needle's eye, and he occupied every part of your field of vision in all his mischievous glory. His new face, his scar, heart-rending, all-consuming. And when the corners of his mouth lifted in a smirk, something inside of you snapped.
Don't tell me you're upset.
No amount of leaf counting could have prevented what happened next. The kiss was nothing like that of strangers, reuniting in a tender embrace. This was hunger, desperation, a collision filled with outrage and longing. eager lips that met clashing teeth. It was as if the mere hours you'd spent apart had set you both afire. The Red Death drew you closer and met you bite for bite, like a man possessed, pulling your anger apart with every touch and every throaty sigh. But you couldn't grow soft beneath his hands. Not now. Not when he'd deceived you. And certainly not when you still felt like he'd made you the fool. In his wicked play.
I guess I deserve that. Still your sword, Sir Talon. She has every right to strike me. No buts. She is to be my wife. And anyone who dares lay a hand on her will answer to me. Is that understood? Good. Leave us. Did that make you feel better? You may do it again if it'll soothe your hackles. I promise I don't mind. Don't do that. Regret looks wrong on a face born for smiling. It takes more than a pat on the cheek to wound me. I'll live. Stop apologizing. I was expecting it. In truth, I worried our reunion would play out far worse when you found out who I was. Consider me pleasantly surprised. Yes, it's really me. This is what I'm supposed to look like. When I have a human face, at least. Do you hate it? I can change it if you want. If you'd rather I... No? No more disguises. You have my word, little Sparrow. You may call me whatever you like. I didn't lie to you when I said most people call me Kit. Those closest to me do. Cessarion is a mouthful. No, gods, no. If you start calling me His Majesty, I'll abdicate. You have questions? I assumed as much. Let's hear them, then. Too many to choose from, You must be famished. I suppose your questions will have to wait. I've always been of the opinion that one shouldn't discuss matters of importance on an empty stomach. Come. I told the cook of your arrival. He promised he'd have everything ready for when you... Eat you? I assure you, precious, you're not what I had in mind for luncheon. However, something of the sort could be arranged. If you're in the mood, that is. I believe there's a serving plate that would be the right size. And seeing you sit atop it with your thighs spread. Now that be appetizing. You still linger on my tongue, you know. And I'm dying for a second taste. And a third. Or more. As many as you are willing to give. No. You're not expected to do any such thing unless you desire it. Everything that happens from this moment on is your choice. Now that you've stilled your appetite, would you like some more wine? Then hand me your cup. Right, where were we? Then what would you like to know? Blue. Like that of the midnight sky. What's yours? Really? I never would have guessed it. No. You look like the type of woman who would enjoy a rosy palette, soft pinks and peaches. No. I like that about you. You're so unexpected. You have this way of keeping me on my toes. Grapes. Oranges if they're in season. Tell me, is this truly what spikes your curiosity? My choice of fruit? Then ask me what you really want to know. The other brides? You want to know what became of them? Let's just say none ever made it down the aisle. I'm not being cryptic on purpose. It's just I swore to myself that if you came here, I would be honest with you. And now that you are, I'm not eager to scare you away. Although I tried that and it didn't seem to take. Yes, I'll admit talking about myself in the third person was a bit of a stretch, even for me. Although the more I spoke as Kit the Traveler, you seemed to grow more determined to fulfill your fate. Why is that? I think it's only fair, considering we're getting to know each other, don't you? All right, precious. Have it your way. But I'm warning you. Only ask questions you want the answer to. Because I won't dress the truth with pretty finery. Very well. The first bride ran away upon arrival. The second and third, I can't really remember. They all start to blend together after a while. The fifth, however, grew sick with smallpox. And the sixth decided to try his luck by jumping from the tower balcony. But it's obvious, isn't it? My kind and yours don't have a history of getting along. I admit, I wasn't that good of a host in the beginning. No, not every bride has such a dire story. The seventh was special. She and I became good friends, if you can believe it. There was nothing romantic between us, but she proved to be a pleasant companion. And I saw to it that she could pursue her studies, read and paint and such. She became quite good at it, actually. And after 5 years or so, I gifted her with enough coin so that she could sail far away. She'd always been keen to travel, that one. Why not? It's the least I could do. And the brides that were sent to my brothers? I don't know much about them. We each deal with our respective sacrifices as we see fit. There is a purpose to the madness, rest assured. Well, I don't know if you're aware, but during the war, there was a prophecy foretold by one of the dragonkin. And the gist of it was that when humans and dragons finally unite, peace and prosperity will once again return to this kingdom. Safe to say we take our prophecies very seriously. So, that's why the decree of marriage was born. However, it's hard to end such hatred, especially when it has festered for so long. I'm not sure if the stories are to be believed. Our forefathers were the first to settle on Sunfire Isle, and to ensure their survival, the god of the land bestowed each settler with the ability to breathe fire. And that's how we dragons explain our own creation. Though there are skeptics and scholars who'd love to bore you with other theories. You're right. And there's this whole other bit about humans coming to our island, living side by side with us, coexisting in harmony until... Sorry. You must think of us as monsters. But the truth is, I remember how Sunfire Isle was before. And it wasn't the dragons that started the bloodshed. Humans did.